My beloved child, listen carefully because this message is not random and it did not find you by accident. There is a presence, subtle yet persistent, circling around your life like a shadow that does not belong to you, a curious mind that has turned its attention toward your home, your space, your peace, and while at first it may seem harmless, like simple curiosity or passing interest, the truth runs deeper than what your eyes can immediately see, because questions are being asked, not just ordinary questions, but intentional ones, calculated ones, questions that carry an energy of observation, of analysis, of silent investigation. And you must understand that when someone begins to focus on your home, it is rarely about the walls or the doors, it is about the life inside, it is about you, your energy, your habits, your vulnerabilities, your blessings, and even your struggles, and this is why you are being called to stay alert right now. Because not every observer is innocent, not every curious mind is pure, and not every question is asked with good intentions. Some questions are doors, some are probes, some are quiet attempts to gather pieces of your world without you even realizing it, and you may have already felt it, that slight discomfort, that unexplainable pause in your spirit when certain people speak or when certain conversations arise, like something inside you is whispering, "Be careful," and you brushed it off, thinking it was overthinking, but it was not, it was awareness trying to protect you. Because there is someone who has been noticing more than they should, paying attention to details they were never invited to see, and their curiosity is growing, evolving into something more focused, more intentional, and you must not ignore this signal, because ignoring it gives space for it to grow stronger. And right now the message is clear: you are not in danger, but you are being watched energetically, studied quietly, and questioned indirectly. And this is the moment where your awareness becomes your shield, your silence becomes your protection, and your discernment becomes your power, because not everything needs to be shared, not every question deserves an answer, and not every person deserves access to your world, and you must start recognizing patterns, the repeated questions, the subtle attempts to know more about your routine, your home environment, who comes and goes, what you do, when you do it. These are not coincidences. They are pieces of a puzzle someone is trying to complete about you, and once they feel they know enough, their intentions may shift, and that is why you are being warned now, before anything escalates, before curiosity turns into interference, before observation turns into intrusion, because the truth is, your home carries a certain energy, a certain light, a certain blessing that is not common, and some people feel drawn to it without even understanding why. They sense something valuable, something peaceful, something powerful, and instead of respecting it, they become curious about it, and curiosity, when not guided by purity, becomes something else, something invasive, something that seeks to understand in order to control, or at least to influence, and you are not meant to be controlled. You are not meant to be studied like an open book by those who do not truly care for your well-being, and this is why boundaries must rise now, quietly but firmly, without drama, without confrontation, just a shift in how much you reveal, how much you engage, how much you allow others to see, because protection does not always come from fighting, sometimes it comes from withholding, from stepping back, from choosing silence over explanation, and you may feel a change in your interactions soon, a shift in how certain people approach you, because when you start protecting your energy, those who are feeding off your openness will notice. They will feel the distance, and some may even try harder to break through it, asking more questions, showing more interest, acting more involved. But do not mistake increased attention for genuine care. Sometimes it is simply resistance to losing access, and you must stay grounded in your awareness, remembering that not everyone who comes closer has good intentions, and not everyone who asks questions deserves your truth. And as you move forward, you will begin to see more clearly, small signs, subtle behaviors, things that once went unnoticed will now stand out, and this clarity is your advantage, because once you see, you cannot be deceived in the same way again, and this is not meant to make you fearful, it is meant to make you wise, alert, and in control of your own space, because your home is not just a physical place, it is an extension of your spirit, your sanctuary, your safe ground. And anyone trying to understand it without your permission is stepping into territory they were not invited into, and that is why you must watch carefully now, observe who observes you, listen to what is being asked, feel what is being implied, and trust that inner voice that tells you when something is not right, because that voice sees what your eyes cannot, it feels what words try to hide, and it is guiding you now for a reason, because something is unfolding, quietly, subtly, but surely, and you are being positioned ahead of it, not to fear it, but to outgrow it, to rise above it, and to protect what is yours without losing your peace. And remember this, the moment you become aware, you are no longer vulnerable in the same way. Awareness shifts the balance. It puts you back in control, and right now, you are being given that control back, so hold it, protect it, and move wisely, because not every curious mind deserves to understand your world. And not every question deserves your answer. At the moment you start pulling your energy back, something interesting begins to happen. The same curious mind that was quietly observing you will start to feel the shift. Like a door that was once slightly open has now been gently but firmly closed, and this is where their behavior may begin to change, not always in obvious ways, but in subtle patterns that reveal more than words ever could. Because when someone loses easy access to you, they either respect the boundary or they try to find another way in, and this is the phase you're stepping into now, where their curiosity becomes a little more restless, a little more noticeable, and you may see them asking indirect questions through others, trying to gather information without approaching you directly, or bringing up topics that seem unrelated but are actually designed to lead you into revealing something about your home, your routine, your personal life, and if you are not paying attention, it can feel like a normal conversation, but your awareness now is sharper, and you will begin to notice the patterns behind the words, the intention behind the tone, the slight persistence that does not match casual curiosity, and this is your signal to remain calm but guarded, not defensive, not confrontational, just aware and selective. Because your power right now lies in how you respond, not in reacting emotionally, but in choosing what deserves your energy and what does not, and there will be moments where silence becomes your strongest answer, where changing the subject becomes your protection, where a simple smile without detail becomes your boundary, and it may feel unfamiliar at first, especially if you are someone who naturally shares openly. But understand this, you are not being asked to become closed off, you are being guided to become discerning, to understand that access to your world is something that must be earned, not something that is freely given to every curious mind that appears. And as you continue to hold this boundary, you may also notice something deeper. The energy around your home begins to stabilize, the subtle unease fades, the sense of being observed starts to weaken, because the moment you stop feeding attention into something, it loses its hold. And this is not just about people, it is about energy itself, because attention is a form of permission, and you are now learning how to withdraw that permission from anything that does not align with your peace. And while you are doing this, there is also something happening behind the scenes that you may not fully see yet. The truth about this curious presence is slowly revealing itself. Small details will begin to surface, things that once felt unclear will start to make sense, connections will form in your mind, and you will realize that what seemed like random curiosity was actually a pattern all along. And this realization will not come with fear, it will come with clarity, a quiet understanding that you were right to trust your instincts, that the feeling you had was valid, and that your awareness protected you before anything could escalate into something more intrusive. And this is why it is important that you do not ignore what you are sensing right now, because your intuition is not guessing, it is reading what is beneath the surface, and it is guiding you to move in a way that keeps you one step ahead. And there may even come a moment where this person reveals themselves more clearly, not necessarily by admitting anything, but through their actions, through the way they react when they can no longer access what they once could. Because when someone is used to knowing more than they should, the loss of that access creates a reaction, and that reaction will show you everything you need to know, whether it is frustration, increased effort, or sudden distance. Each response is a message, and you must observe it without getting pulled into it, because your role is not to confront, it is to understand and protect. And as this unfolds, you will also feel a shift within yourself, a stronger sense of control over your space, a deeper respect for your own boundaries, and a clearer vision of who truly deserves to be close to you and who does not. And this clarity will not only protect your home, it will elevate your entire life, because once you learn how to guard your energy in one area, it naturally extends into every other area, your relationships, your decisions, your peace of mind. Everything becomes more aligned, more intentional, and more secure. And this situation, as subtle as it may seem, is actually preparing you for that level of awareness. It is teaching you how to recognize hidden intentions without needing loud proof, how to trust yourself even when others appear harmless, and how to maintain your peace without needing to explain yourself to anyone. And that is a powerful place to stand, because not everyone reaches that level of understanding. Many people only realize too late when their space has already been disturbed. But you are being given this awareness early, and that is not a coincidence, it is protection. It is guidance, it is a quiet intervention that is keeping you aligned with your safety and your peace. And as you continue forward, remember this: you do not need to expose anyone, you do not need to prove anything. You simply need to remain aware, remain selective, and remain grounded in the understanding that your home, your life, and your energy are not open for silent investigation by those who have not earned your trust. And the more you stand in that truth, the less power any curious mind will have over your world, because in the end, the greatest protection is not force. It is awareness combined with quiet strength, and you are already stepping into that now. As this situation reaches its deeper phase, you begin to notice something that most people miss entirely. The energy of that curious mind no longer feels distant or hidden, it becomes clearer, more defined, almost like a presence that reveals itself not through direct action but through repeated patterns that can no longer stay disguised. And this is where your awareness transforms into certainty, because what once felt like a vague intuition now starts to feel like quiet confirmation, the kind that does not need evidence to be real, it simply is. And in this phase you must be especially careful not to fall into the trap of overreacting or confronting impulsively, because that is exactly where many lose their advantage. They see clearly but respond emotionally, and emotion, when unguarded, can reopen doors you just closed. So instead you are being guided to move with controlled awareness, to observe without exposing your understanding, to know without announcing what you know, because there is power in quiet clarity, there is strength in seeing everything and still choosing calm over chaos, and as you hold this position, something begins to shift in a powerful way. The curious mind that once felt like it had silent access to your world starts to lose its footing completely, because your energy is no longer available for observation in the same way, your responses are no longer predictable, your openness is no longer automatic, and without those things, their ability to understand or influence your space weakens rapidly, and this is where their behavior may take one of two paths. Either they slowly retreat, sensing that they can no longer gather what they once could, or they attempt one final push. A slightly more direct approach, a stronger curiosity disguised as concern, interest, or even coincidence, and if that moment comes, you must remain exactly as you are now, steady, aware, and unshaken, because this is not the time to explain yourself or to satisfy their curiosity. This is the moment where your silence becomes the final boundary, the invisible wall that cannot be crossed, and you may feel a strange shift inside you during this time, not fear, but a sense of detachment. As if you are stepping back from something that once felt closer than it should have, and that detachment is not weakness, it is protection, it is your spirit creating space where it is needed, removing unnecessary access, restoring balance where it was being quietly disturbed, and while all of this unfolds externally, something even more important is happening within you. Your awareness is evolving into discernment, and discernment is what separates confusion from clarity. It allows you to see intentions without needing explanations, to feel truth without needing proof, and once you reach this level, you cannot be easily misled again, because you are no longer relying only on what is said, you are understanding what is meant, and that changes everything. And as this chapter comes to its turning point, you will realize that this was never just about someone asking questions, it was about you learning how to protect your space without losing your peace, how to recognize hidden attention without becoming paranoid, and how to maintain control over your life without needing to control others. And that lesson will stay with you far beyond this moment, because situations like this are not random, they are quiet tests of awareness, subtle opportunities to strengthen your inner boundaries, and now that you have seen what you needed to see, you are no longer in the same position you were before, you are ahead, aware, and grounded, and that changes the outcome entirely. Because nothing can quietly study or influence a space that is fully conscious of itself, and that is what you have become. Now, conscious, present, and protected in a way that does not require force, only understanding, and as you move forward from here, you will notice that your home feels different, lighter, more secure, as if something that did not belong has faded away, and that is because it has, not through confrontation, not through conflict, but through your refusal to remain unaware, through your decision to stand in quiet control of your own space. And that is your true strength, not reacting, not fearing, but knowing, and once you know, nothing hidden can remain powerful around you, and nothing curious can cross a boundary you no longer allow to be invisible, and this is where your peace stabilizes again, stronger than before, because now it is protected not just by hope, but by awareness that has already proven itself, and from this point on, anyone who approaches your life, your home, your energy, will meet a version of you that sees beyond the surface, and that alone will keep everything that does not belong exactly where it should be, outside, where it can no longer reach what is yours. And now as everything settles into its final phase, you begin to understand the deeper truth that was hidden beneath all of this, that this was never just about someone being curious. It was about you being awakened to a level of awareness that most people ignore until it is too late, and the reason this message reached you, the reason you felt that subtle discomfort, the reason your intuition kept whispering when nothing looked wrong on the surface, is because you were meant to rise above silent observation before it could ever turn into silent influence. And now you stand in a completely different position than where you started, no longer open without discernment, no longer unaware of who is watching, listening, or quietly trying to understand more than they should. You have shifted into someone who recognizes patterns before they become problems, someone who protects their space without needing to explain their boundaries. Someone who understands that peace is not just about what you feel, it is about what you allow, and what you no longer allow has already changed everything around you, because the curious mind that once circled your world has now reached a dead end, not because you fought it, not because you exposed it, but because you stopped feeding it access, and without access, curiosity has no power. Without information, observation has no control, and without your openness, their questions lose meaning, and this is the quiet victory that most people never even realize they have achieved, the ability to close unseen doors without creating noise, the strength to withdraw without creating conflict, the wisdom to see without needing validation. And as you continue forward from here, there is something important you must carry with you, not fear, not suspicion, but awareness that stays balanced. Awareness that does not make you paranoid but makes you prepared. Awareness that allows you to move freely while still understanding that not every presence around you deserves full access to your life, and you will notice that from this point on, your interactions begin to change naturally. You will speak less about what truly matters, you will observe more than you reveal, you will feel people before you fully trust them, and this is not you becoming distant. This is you becoming aligned with your own protection, and the right people, the genuine ones, will never be disturbed by this version of you, because real connections do not demand constant access, they respect space, they honor boundaries, they grow with trust instead of feeding on curiosity, and that is how you will begin to separate who belongs in your world and who is only trying to understand it from the outside. And as this clarity strengthens, you will also feel a deeper sense of control over your environment. Your home will feel like your sanctuary again, your energy will feel contained and protected, your peace will feel stable instead of easily influenced, and that stability is something no external curiosity can break anymore, because it is no longer dependent on circumstances, it is rooted in your awareness, and awareness once gained cannot be taken away, it only grows stronger with time, and that is exactly what has happened to you. You have grown stronger without needing a battle. Wiser without needing a mistake, more protected without needing to build walls. Because true protection is not about isolation, it is about understanding who and what you allow into your space, and now you understand that clearly, And as this message comes to its close, there is one final truth you must hold on to. Not everyone who looks at your life deserves to understand it. Not everyone who asks about your home deserves to step inside your reality. And not every curious mind is meant to be answered. Some are meant to be observed from a distance and left exactly where they are, outside your boundaries, outside your peace, outside your world. And once you fully accept that, you will never again feel the need to explain yourself to those who were never meant to have access in the first place. And that is where your true power settles, in quiet control, in steady awareness, and in a peace that no longer depends on who is watching, because now you are the one who sees everything that truly matters, and nothing beyond that holds any power over you anymore.